Hi, Anita. So lovely to meet you. My name is Rachel. First off, I just want to say thank you for coming. How was the ride here?
It was okay. It was the roads were a little messy, but
Yeah,
it was
the
okay.
weather's been off and on, but
Yeah,
it's good that you got here safe. So,
thanks.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I just want to just first off start and say, like, thank you so much for even just making that first step. You being here and being present is that first step that you need to take. So, it's wonderful that you're here.
Thanks.
So the first thing I just want to talk to you about is confidentiality. I just want to make sure that you're well aware of it before we start so that you can agree if this is okay. If not, then we can end the session based on your understanding.
Okay.
So just to make you aware, this meeting is confidential, which means that I cannot go out and tell any family member or anybody else anything that is discussed here.
Okay.
However, it is important for you to know that if I feel as if you're about to put yourself in harm or other people in harm, then I am definitely obligated to report it.
Mhm.
And also, let's say if any discussion that we have is needed to be mandated into court, then I will also have to provide that information of today's discussion.
Okay.
Is that okay with you?
Yeah, that's fine.
Awesome. All right, so let's start off. Can you tell me what brought you here today?
Where do I start? I don't know. There's
Yeah,
so
take
many
your time.
things going on. I just have a lot of stuff going on in terms of like school and my like personal life,
Mm-hmm.
and I guess like sometimes I have a lot on my mind. I'm just trying to like manage it all.
Right.
One thing that's really worrying me a lot is my dad hasn't been well,
Mm-hmm.
and he's feeling better, but I think I just worry about him
Mm-hmm.
because I feel like he doesn't take his health seriously.
Right.
And I'm kind of like, even though things are getting better, I think I'm worried that like he's just gonna like keep going and that something bad's gonna happen again.
Mm-hmm.
And he's very stubborn,
Right.
so it's like, and I don't live in the same city as him.
Okay, so you're commuting. Can you tell me more about that?
Yeah, so my dad lives in London, and I live here. Well, I live in Guelph, but I'm going to Waterloo.
Okay. Yeah.
So that's the other thing is that like I just don't have time to keep going back to London.
Right.
And I want to visit him and see him more and just kind of like, take the pressure off of my mom.
Yeah.
Because she's also working and like taking care of my dad.
Yes. Yeah.
But like sometimes I just feel really torn between school and like we have our practicum,
Right.
and like being there for my dad.
Yeah.
And he also like he's the kind of person where if I call him, he'll be like, yeah, everything's fine.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like I need to actually be there
to actually see for yourself.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can you so you talked about how there is a lot of things that is going through your head. Can you describe to me with feelings and emotions? What are the type of feelings or emotions that have built up because of these circumstances that you've been dealing with?
I think like some of it is just worry and anxiety because
Okay.
I'm like, what's going on over there? I can't see what's happening.
Right.
So if I'm not there, I'm thinking like, is he okay? Is he taking care of himself? When I first found out that my dad was sick, it was like my mom calling me saying, "Oh, we had to take your dad to the hospital." So it kind of came out of nowhere.
Right.
So I think I'm also worried that like maybe something else will happen again.
Mm-hmm.
I also sometimes feel a little guilty because I can't be there more
Right.
often, and like my mom has to do everything.
Yeah.
So yeah, those are the feelings.
Yeah.
They're just also fearful because I'm also worried.
Yeah,
that what's
and
gonna
that's
happen.
totally understandable when sometimes things happen in our life that is unexpected, as you were to say. Sometimes it strikes us and we're like, it can make us stagnate, like, whoa, I wasn't expecting that to happen. And even sometimes what I've seen is when people do get better with their issues that they're dealing with, sometimes just the past and remembering what did occur can still affect the future, right? So I definitely want to acknowledge that. It's good though. Are you still in school? Like, how has the school been? Are you still attending school despite what has happened? So that's very good. That's a brave step to take. Like you said, you have been saying that you've been expressing a lot of worry and anxiety of you being there for your father, but the fact that you've been managing going to school, I just want to acknowledge that and give respects to you for that. So the first thing I want to know is, can you show me how your day-to-day life would be like? Let's say if it was a Monday morning, right? starting, I know you have school, right?
Mm-hmm.
So how would that look like, and how would you contribute your father into your day-to-day life? Whether it's a phone call, can you just describe that a bit for me?
Like how it actually is, or how I want it to be?
Let's talk about how it actually is right now, and then we'll further discuss how you would want it to be.
Okay. So right now on Mondays I actually have practicum.
Okay.
So because my practicum is in Guelph, I don't really have a long commute to get there.
Right.
So I usually just like it's like one of those things where I get there and then I get pulled to go do something. So there are times where I'm like out for the entire day, and then I come back to my desk at the end of the day. So I'm there from like 9 or 9:30 until it could be 4:30, it could be 5:30.
Yeah.
So somewhere between like 3:30 and 5:30.
Yeah.
And then when I come, like, and then when I leave like practicum, I go home, and it's like, I guess I just always have something to do. So like when I leave the practicum, I sometimes go straight to like the grocery store.
Okay, yeah.
And I come home and I start cooking, and then I eat, and then I realize, I should probably do some reading.
Yeah.
And then by the time I'm done all that and like cleaning up, it's time to go to bed. And I look at the time and I'm like, my dad is probably sleeping. So then, and then the next day starts again.
Yeah.
You know, so I feel like maybe I could find some pockets of time where it would be a good time for me to call him, and it would be a good time for him as well. Yeah. But I have to really like think about it.
So what I'm seeing two things here after you discussing. One thing I can see is maybe perhaps you're trying to figure out how to better discuss with your father and to keep in touch with your father. But also there's another aspect where you also need to kind of figure out your feelings too as well, and learn how to cope with what has happened and how to move forward too as well. Am I getting that right? Do you think those two are kind of the situation that you feel like you're in right now currently?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about the first thing that let's talk about the first thing. So within your school, because I know you said you have practicum and you also attend school as well, and this can contribute a lot to you also feeling overwhelmed because you said you're trying to balance it. So do you have a support group around you, whether it's in practicum or even in your school, that are aware of what is currently going on with your family, that they can give you that push and that support that, it's okay to feel this way, and to kind of give you a bit maybe leniency that can help you in school, just to kind of minimize you feeling overwhelmed, because a lot of things can contribute to that. So we want to tackle that down to limit it, right?
Yeah, actually, I never thought of it that way, but I have like a few people in the program that I've talked to about stuff, and then I have like a few profs, not many, that I have mentioned, like I have this kind of thing going on.
Yeah.
But yeah, now that you mentioned it, I'm thinking about maybe I should be more vocal with my profs about what's going on.
Yes.
And like maybe I could connect to students in the class more,
yeah,
especially the ones that like live closer.
Yeah, and I think that is good, because like you said about talking to your professors can only see, they never know what you're going through. They can only see what they can physically see with their eyes, right?
Yeah.
And I always think back to that saying where people are like, some people cannot read our minds, right?
Yeah,
I wish that we were genies and we can hear what's going on in our people's thoughts and minds, but that's not the case. So it's very important for us to inform people how we feel, just so that we can reach that support, right?
Yeah, that's true.
And then another thing I want to tackle, we'll tackle the second thing in regards to your father. So I know you're saying by the time you're done work, you have a lot going on, and then night comes and it's like, wow, my father's sleeping. And let's try to figure out how we can kind of help that situation, because like you said, that is a worry of you too as well, that you're not communicating with your father as much, or you're worried, what if this occurs? And that's where a lot of questions begin to flow in your head, right? So to limit that, let's think of a couple ideas that you can do to keep you in communication with your father. Has there been types of, ways that you've tried to go around that, whether it's maybe even taking time during your lunch break and giving them a call, or even just a text message, I think is important. And yeah, like, what do you think about that? Let's talk about that first before I elaborate more.
That's a good idea. Texting my dad is really old school.
Okay, yeah.
He doesn't even know how to use it. But I could call him on lunch. That would actually be a good time because he's also relaxed. And because he has his own business. So, like, sometimes when I call him during the day, he's busy.
Yeah.
But lunchtime would be a good time to call him. And I noticed that when I do, like, because I'll forget about it until the end of the day. And then when I call him, he's, like, trying to get out of it. And he's like, hey, like, can we talk later?
So it's kind of, like, conflicting both your schedules. Yeah.
So, yeah, maybe I should switch to a different time of day when he's, like, also taking a break.
Yeah, and perhaps you got communicating with your father and saying, like, you know, Dad, like, you know, I love you and I worry about you and, you know, just to ease my mind. And probably your parents, too, are probably always worried about you, too, as well. You know, you coming, making that big step and moving to a different city for school. Yeah. It's probably a new transition for them, too, as well. So kind of finding that middle ground for both of you guys, whether you guys can both come into agreement that at a certain time you guys will call each other and check on each other. Yeah. Just so, like, even if it's in the beginning of the day, that will ease your mind. If you guys both give each other that go ahead, like, I'm feeling great today. Like, just to have that in your head will allow you to go through the day with an eased mind, right?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I think that would be great. So perhaps give that a shot and then we can discuss that if you decide to do another session later. But the next thing I also wanted to tackle is with anxiety and feeling worried comes a lot of, sometimes we keep ourselves in a box, right? And I don't want you to limit yourself. I want you to find self-care activities that you can do that will help you move away from these feelings too as well. Because yes, you can contact your father and he's going to be okay, but you too as well. What is Anita doing to help herself to make sure that she's breathing and that she's not feeling so consumed? Is there any activities that you've been doing? How is self-care for you? How does that look like?
I don't know, because I know it's like in this program, you know what it is, but you just kind of like, it goes by the wayside.
Yeah.
And I do need to be more intentional about finding time to do the things that like I used to do. Yeah. So like I used to try to get to the gym or like go to yoga class.
Yeah.
One thing that I'm doing that maybe I wasn't doing as regularly before is like cooking, or making sure that I have a healthy meal.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah, and just getting to bed. This semester's a little busy right now. Yeah. I try to make sure that I get enough sleep.
Enough sleep, that's very important.
Yeah, so that I have like a good foundation for the next day. But yeah, I do miss some of the other stuff I used to do.
Yeah, that's what I'm hearing right now. Yeah,
because it was also kind of uplifting and it gave me energy.
Yeah, that was even the second question I was going to ask you. Like, when you did do these activities, did it have a lot of a positive effect on your day-to-day life? Yeah, okay.
For sure.
Yeah. So I would definitely, you should try to think about that, or even thinking about new ideas too as well, of new activities that you can do. And one thing I like to tell clients is imagine a bucket, right? And in that bucket, there's a pipe, and that pipe is pouring the water in. So this is everything in our lives. This is our family, our education, our social life, every environment that we are part of, every community we're part of, that water is what it is, and it's pouring into this bucket. And what I tell people is I believe it is important for us to pour some water out of the bucket before it overflows. Because when it begins to overflow, that's where situations usually happen the most. That's when we're unable to breathe. We feel suffocated, right? Yeah. So just constantly remind yourself, time for me to pour that bucket out. And it can be in different ways, whether it's self-care or even that bucket could be overflowing because you haven't been maybe message your father, it's going to pour a bit. And that's very important. So I would keep that in mind, right? So how do you feel so far about this conversation? Has it opened your mind to different possibilities? It seems like you Anita, it seems like you know what you need to do, which I'm very proud of, but that's very good. It seems like it's just kind of like, sometimes we need to say it to remind us. Yeah. Sometimes we need to sit down and just, like you said, your life is busy. You said you're up and down, and sometimes you get home, you're drained. Yeah. And sometimes it just takes a moment like this where your phone is away, where, everything is just kind of like blocked out, and it's just you and me right now, for you to hear yourself actually say the things that you know you need to do.
Yeah, no, it's very true. Like, I feel like we just kind of forget about these things. And I think I just, like, maybe I just got caught up with, like, my schedule and all these things that I'm doing that I didn't think about, like, the little things that I could be doing to kind of ease some of that pressure. Yeah. So that's been, it's been really helpful to talk about it and, like, kind of.
That's good. That's good. Yeah. It's amazing. You know, I just want to, like, we have reached our limit. I just want to, like, re-summarize everything for you because we did talk a lot, right? So I just want you to just remember a few pointers so that you can, you know, reflect on it. Because we did talk about a lot, I know. And yes, you may have grasped certain things right now, but sometimes you may go home and you may even begin to even reflect deeper, right? So, you know, we came in the beginning and we talked about you feeling overwhelmed with your father, your school, the transition. And we were able to pinpoint at least 2 different, I guess, sections of where you need to fix it. And you begin to kind of, I guess, acknowledge and also understand yourself, like, okay, I need to do this and that, right? Yeah. So, the next thing I would want you to do, the next steps would be try to communicate with your father. Let him know how you're feeling. Be transparent with them because, you know, they're probably feeling the same emotions and feelings that you're feeling right now. Yeah. So knowing that you're not alone in this too as well, and allow your family to be, allow your family in, you know, be transparent, tell them. And come up with that time where you guys can connect, whether it's like the phone. I know you say your dad isn't like texting, but whether it's a phone call, right? Even before bed too as well. If you figure out what time he goes to bed, that you can contact him. But also too as well, I want you to also inform your professors. Sometimes as social workers and being in a social work program, we think that it's not okay for us to go through things, that we have to have everything together, which is not the case. Yeah. We never like to talk about our feelings, but we love helping people. Yeah. But we can't help people unless we help ourselves and we deal with the issues that we're dealing with. So I think it's very important for you to also talk to your professors when you are comfortable. And also with your parents too as well, when you're comfortable to share those feelings and share those feelings with them. And yeah, that's pretty much it. And if you do want to book a next session, we can book a next session. If not, that is totally fine. But I hope that this session has helped you and has opened your mind to even new possibilities. Yeah. But honestly, Anita, I feel like you're definitely going to overcome. And it's, you know, it seems like you're in just a role of transitioning. And sometimes we go through different seasons. I like thinking of life as seasons. So let's think of it like weather. Sometimes we have summer where we're just going through amazing things in life, and then winter season comes and we're cold and we're like going through a lot of different situations, and sometimes those situations are just making us so cold that we're like, we can't bear this, we want summer to come back. But sometimes we have to go through that winter season to know that things are going to get better and it's going to even strengthen us even more. So that's true. I say just look ahead.
Okay.
It'll be fine.
Thank you.
All right, no problem.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, for sure. Bye. Yeah, you too.